cloud. So why don't we start with just really coming into a breath, and whatever your time leading up till now has been like today, letting that fall away. Whether you've had a busy morning, a relaxed morning, an easygoing, whether you feel present or disconnected, living in this body, embodied in this body. And last time we were together, we talked about and did a meditation on the 7 factors of awakening. And I sent out a little thing I created from that based on some of the work. And I'll share that again now.
I listened to it. I know other people didn't. I just remember, I didn't understand some stuff at the end, but everybody's going to listen to it this week. So,
yeah. So what are the parts that we need? Sometimes if we're too much in our heads, which is one of my tendencies, and I'm learning how to come out and be in the body. So these 7 factors, if they're tools that are helpful to you, then great. And if not, then just bring your practice there. So some people find it helpful to have the sense of learning and knowledge to help us understand it. And that's certainly what the Buddha and many others have used. But if it feels like, well, I don't know about this, and this doesn't make sense to me, you can ask questions and explore it. But there's a way that we're so focused on needing to understand things. And my mentor keeps saying, let it go, Susan, because the little part of me that wants to figure it all out is not always helpful. And the core root of mindfulness is allowing the moment to just be. So to not push ourselves into doing more than what we need. And yet we also investigate around us. And I was sharing with Pam a little earlier that the neuroscience and embodiment course that I'm taking about what is presence and how do we investigate what's around us using our intention and attention at the same time as we're skill building. So we have to continually discern what's needed. So investigation might be just in this moment, let's do this we practice where you have a sense of being here and looking straight ahead and allowing your body to be comfortable and then expanding your seeing. Maybe you're looking right at the computer screen to be on this platform, but you expand your seeing to include what's right in front of you, the colors, and then expand your seeing to include your peripheral vision. First, as far as you can see to the right without moving your head or your eyes, and then as far as you can see to the left. So you have a sense of taking in the whole that you can see. And now allow an awareness of the light that's playing in your surroundings. Or if you're sitting in dark, perhaps you're sitting in dark, then allowing the dark, maybe you've got a light on. So by investigating with intention what is around us, we can begin to steer ourselves more skillfully. Steer ourselves more skillfully. In the analogy of driving, if you remember when you started driving, how you had to figure that out. Each of my children had to figure out how to brake and steer. I taught them both to drive on a standard so that they would know how to have that skill, and that's complicated. So just like driving, we have to learn how to allow it to become a natural skill. And we apply ourselves to energy and effort. And I was saying to Pam earlier that when I took those, I think I've shared that with all of you, when I was in the process of getting certified as a mindfulness teacher, they require you to go on 4 10-day silent retreats. And part of that, and to have a practice daily, part of that commitment is to allow us to have humility, because we can think about meditation and then we're like, oh yeah, I can do that, no problem. But then when we actually sit and observe the mind and body and thoughts and emotions. It's like, whoa. And there's no way we can sit in a deeper intimacy with ourselves and not see how distracted we can be. So the capacity of building and putting energy and effort into ourselves so that we can, for me, it feels like as I'm moving, I'm not sure about you folks, but as I'm moving, like since I turned 65 and just a little while ago, and I know some of you are older than me, but that tip as we move into aging, preparing ourselves for death, so that we can die as best we can, a good death. And by bringing energy and an effort to that, it gives us more often joy and tranquility. So we build our capacity and attention to hold joy and turning our minds, not engaging in toxic positivity, but more often to things that either have given us or give us joy. And then gratitude emerges somewhat organically, but sometimes we have to do a skillfulness of keep turning, as we know about our tendency to find what's negative. And then the element, I think it's the sixth, this concentration. Yeah. And we've talked about the ideas about we can concentrate, we can bring our will, our mind to say, I concentrate. And maybe when we're sitting in silent meditation, we consciously concentrate from the top down. And then the other kind is embodying from the inside out. So allowing a felt sense of the moment. And sometimes one is more helpful than another. Sometimes we might want to bring both. I use my conscious will to sit on my cushion every morning. And then I often invite a felt sense to emerge in my being. And then, of course, the very last one is equanimity. So that is the parts of us that are saying, oh, that's no good. We'd have to do this. It's better. Or I want pleasure. I don't want pain. And so we're continually in that judgment of what's going on. So this opportunity to explore in more depth about what are the factors that lead us fully into the next layer of our awakening, and how do we create that. Here's what Mandy Baker, who's the doctor who's leading us in the neuroscience course I was telling you about, she talks about being, what does it mean to be present? And she uses a different languaging than John Kabat-Zinn. And she says, being present means being fully attuned with simultaneous attention. So we're tuning inward to pay attention to our body, our thoughts, our emotions, and our breathing. And the sounds come and go. So we're tuning inward. That brings us more present. And then as we build our capacity, then we can bring that sense of presence to other. So generally, we're kind of looking at 50-50. So when we're engaged with another person, if we can bring that presence, but sometimes I'm with another and I get, we use words like triggered, activated. And if I get like that, then I might need to turn 70 or 80. And sometimes you see me closing my eyes to increase my capacity to turn inward. And I know some of you do that as well. What do I need to be present with simultaneous attention internally at multiple levels? And then how can I be with you with a relaxed and spacious attention and presence? So that would be one of my aspirations. I'm just looking at what else. And the reason she says that we do this is because the quality of our relationships deepens and enhances by this. We have a stronger sense of being with each other in a different way. And I don't know about you, but I've certainly spent a lot of my younger life kind of whirling around, not even kind of attention half the time to another person. I was so self-centered, it is what it is. But how do we allow that? Okay, so I think, is there any kind of questions? I'm just looking at the 7 factors. So they're another useful practice or part of practice that allows us to bring ourselves forward. And in the handout I sent to you, then it invites a deeper sense of where we're clinging, where we want pleasantness. And as we bring this focus, let's call it, or attention to ourselves, then we can enhance our presence as best we can.